Well, good morning, everyone. Pastor Corey Rowland here with Yorksville First, Midvale, and Newport Global Methodist Church. Bring you a devotional today out of the book of 1 Samuel in 1 Samuel 17, beginning in verse 32. Do not worry about a thing, David told Saul. I will go fight this Philistine. Do not be ridiculous, Saul replied. There is no way you can go against this Philistine. You are only a boy, and he has been in the army since he was a boy. But David persisted. I have been taking care of my father's sheep, he said. When lions or bears come to steal a lamb from the flock, I go after it with a club and take the lamb from its mouth. If the animal turns on me, I catch it by the jaw and club it to death. I have done this to both lions and bears, and I will do it to this pagan Philistine too, for he has defied the armies of the living God. Then the Lord who saves me from the claws of the lion and the bear will save me from this Philistine. So finally, Saul consented. All right, go ahead, he said, and may the Lord be with you. So that's all the way to verse 37, and it's one of the famous dialogues between Saul and David as he is getting ready to go and face Goliath. Probably one of the most famous stories of the Old Testament, definitely of the book of 1st and 2nd Samuel, is the story of David and Goliath. This shepherd boy who was not afraid to fight against this Philistine champion of Gath. We are told that Goliath was a very well-known and well-suited warrior, and the champion, a very well-equipped warrior, and not just any ordinary warrior, but quite literally a giant standing probably around 9 feet tall. And he was a very impressive figure, so much so that all of the armies of Israel, all of the men of Israel were afraid to fight against him, even after Saul had offered a reward to fight against Goliath, and the one who would win against Goliath would be given great rewards, including the marriage of Saul's daughter. And yet it is this character, David, who comes without fear and without worry. All that he knows that Goliath is defying the armies of the Lord, that Goliath is defying Yahweh himself and must be punished for his blasphemy. And so David tells King Saul, do not worry about a thing. Everyone around's worrying, and David says, do not worry about a thing. I will fight this Philistine. And I love the comparison that Saul gives between David and Goliath. Saul says to David, you are just a boy. And Goliath, he has been a soldier, or in the army, or other translations say he has been a soldier from his youth. You are just a youth, and he has been a soldier. He's been a killer from his youth. And yet David doesn't hear any of that. David says, listen, I'm no ordinary boy. I am a shepherd. I take care of my father's flock, and part of taking care of any flock means that you're going to deal with predators. Specifically here, we're told about lions and bears who would come to attack the sheep. And David, in his duties as a shepherd, would protect the sheep and would go and go after the lion and the bear and grab the sheep from its jaw. And I love what he says, if the animal would turn on me, then I'd kill it. And David is using this as an example to say the same God who's been with me in all of those fights in the past, the same God who's been with me in all of those instances in the past, he's delivered me and kept me safe. He's going to be the same God who delivers me from this Philistine. Why? Because he said, this Philistine has defied the armies of the living God. He says, I will do the same to this pagan Philistine, for he has defied the armies of the living God. I love David's faith. And I think it reminds us to remember the victories the Lord has given us. David was bold enough to face Goliath. One of the things that he called upon was the past where God has delivered him. He gives us examples here. He says, there's been times where I faced lions, there's been times where I faced bear, and the Lord delivered me from them. And no matter how much the lion and the bear were scary, Goliath was far scarier. Goliath would have been the biggest enemy David's ever faced. But you see, David recognizes the Lord's hand in delivering him from the little battles, that it gives him great faith in the larger battles. And I think that's such a profound example for us today. Remember the Lord who's taking care of you. Oftentimes, but when we face big things, we somehow think these things are bigger than our God. We somehow think that these giants are so great and that we are so helpless. But like David, we can remember all of the times in the past where the Lord has given us victory, and we can have faith that just as he's done so in the past, he will do so with this present battle. So my message, my encouragement for you today is don't give up. Don't give up. Remember the victory that the Lord has already given you. Remember all the victories in the past, and remember that that same God who's been with you this far is the same God who will continue to be with you. So don't give in to fear. Don't give in to anxieties. Don't give in to worry. Look to the Lord, and he will give you victory. Amen.